Duck and cover. A lot of people laugh at the old Cold War advice to hide under a desk during a nuclear blast. To be fair, a wooden school desk does not exactly look like advanced military technology, but the idea was never about surviving directly under the mushroom cloud like some action movie hero. It was meant for people farther away, where the blast wave arrives seconds later and turns windows into flying knives. In Hiroshima, many survivors lived simply because they were behind walls or under sturdy furniture. So yes, duck and cover sounds silly until your living room suddenly decides to explode into 40 million pieces.
You can outrun fallout. Movies love showing someone sprinting away from a giant mushroom cloud while dramatic music plays. Unfortunately, fallout does not care about cardio. Radioactive particles spread through wind, settle over huge areas, and can drift for miles. Unless someone can outrun the atmosphere itself, running blindly is usually a terrible plan. The safest move is often getting inside quickly and staying there. Fallout is basically nature's way of saying, "Congratulations, the dirt is dangerous now."
A refrigerator protects you from radiation. This myth became famous because people saw movie scenes where someone survives inside a refrigerator and thought, seems reasonable. It is not reasonable. A refrigerator is designed to protect leftover pizza, not human civilization. During a real nuclear blast, the shockwave would likely throw the fridge across town like a kitchen-themed missile, and radiation does not look at a refrigerator and politely stop at the door. Dense concrete works, dirt works, your expired yogurt storage unit does not. Potassium iodide makes you immune. Some people treat iodine tablets like magical anti-nuclear candy. In reality, potassium iodine only helps protect the thyroid from one specific radioactive element. That is useful, but it does not turn someone into Captain Radiation. It will not stop burns, blast injuries, or radiation exposure everywhere else. Taking iodine pills while standing outside staring at a mushroom cloud is a bit like wearing oven mitts during a volcanic eruption. Cars can protect you from nuclear fallout. A car feels safe because it has doors, windows, and cup holders. Radiation is deeply unimpressed by cup holders. Most vehicles are made from thin metal and glass, which provide very little shielding. Fallout particles can also settle all over the car while the ventilation system happily invites contaminated air inside. During a nuclear emergency, a car is transportation to shelter, not the shelter itself. Although traffic jams during the apocalypse would probably still happen somehow. The blast is the only danger. People often imagine nuclear explosions as one giant moment, and then everything is over. Real nuclear disasters are much worse because the problems keep arriving like terrible subscription services. First comes the blast, then fires, then fallout, then collapsing infrastructure, power outages, contaminated water, overwhelmed hospitals, and widespread panic. Surviving the explosion only means unlocking the next level of problems. Humanity really managed to invent a disaster with expansion packs.
You instantly die if you see the flash. The flash from a nuclear explosion is terrifying, but seeing it does not automatically mean instant death. Distance matters, shielding matters, timing matters. Some survivors in Hiroshima lived surprisingly close to the blast because they were protected by thick walls or underground spaces. Of course, staring directly at the brightest thing humans have ever created is still a bad life decision. Your eyes may survive exactly long enough to regret it. Gas masks protect against radiation. Gas masks are useful for filtering radioactive dust particles from the air. What they do not do is stop radiation itself from passing through the body. Radiation is energy, not just dirty smoke floating around dramatically. Wearing a gas mask while standing in an open, contaminated area is better than nothing, but it is not full protection. It is basically the apocalypse equivalent of bringing an umbrella into a hurricane and saying, "I have prepared." Nuclear winter would immediately freeze the planet. Pop culture often treats nuclear winter like Earth instantly transforming into an ice planet the next morning. The real theory is more complex. Massive fires could send smoke into the atmosphere, block sunlight, lower temperatures, and damage agriculture worldwide. But it would not suddenly look like penguins moving into downtown traffic intersections. Scientists still debate how severe the effects would be depending on the scale of the war. Either way, global crop could be bad enough without adding movie-style instant glaciers.
You should stay outside to avoid being trapped. Some people think staying outdoors is safer because buildings might collapse. But during fallout, being outside is usually far more dangerous. Radiation exposure drops dramatically behind thick walls, underground shelters, or even the center of large buildings. Basements are especially effective. This means the humble basement, normally reserved for old furniture and mysterious boxes nobody opens, suddenly becomes premium real estate.
Bottled water becomes completely safe forever. People often assume sealed bottled water remains permanently safe no matter what happens outside. It is safer than exposed water, but not magically immune to every problem. Containers can still become contaminated externally, and long-term disasters can affect supply systems and sanitation. Also, if civilization collapses, someone will absolutely start charging 12 gold bars for a small bottle of water labeled artisanal.
Surviving the blast means you are fine. The biggest myth is thinking survival ends with avoiding the explosion itself. Real survival begins afterward. Injuries, radiation sickness, food shortages, contaminated environments, and failing infrastructure can create long-term disasters lasting months or years. History showed this clearly after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where many survivors faced enormous struggles long after the blast ended. A nuclear disaster is not one bad day. It is humanity accidentally turning the difficulty setting to impossible.